Hello everyone, I am Durga Saujanya from Department of ECE, MLR Institute of Technology, Hyderabad. So I am going to give the video lectures for the subject Embedded System Design. Our today's topic for video session is Embedded Tools 1. So here we are in the third unit, which is Debugging Tools and Techniques. In this, first we need to discuss about what are the development tools used for host machine and target machine. So first, summary of previous session. So in previous session, we have discussed what is meant by host machine. So what is meant by target machine. So what are the differences between host machine and target machine. So how can we define the performance of host machine and target machine. So now in this session we are going to discuss about what are the tools available for embedded software and the compiler, what is meant by compiler. So what is the purpose of assembler or interpreter, what is the purpose of debugger, what is the purpose of linker, so what is the purpose of startup code. So first, what are the different types of tools available for our embedded systems. So here in embedded systems we know that mainly the embedded system is a combination of both software and hardware. Therefore, the embedded tools are also having the tools for embedded software tools and embedded hardware tools. So what are the embedded software tools? What are the embedded hardware tools? Here the tools which are used for development of software program for that particular application is known as embedded software tools. So what are the hardware parts which are used for development of that particular application are known as embedded hardware tools. So here in embedded software tools, editor, assembler, compiler, linker, simulator. So these are all comes under embedded software tools. In circuit emulator, debugger, starter, startup model. So these are all comes under embedded hardware tools. So here, as we have seen here, this compiler, assembler, editor, so linker, locator. So this is known as simulator. So these are all comes under the embedded software tools. So in this, the first one is compiler. Here, as we have seen here, for the compiler, so we have to write the high level language program and enters that file into the compiler. So it will release the object file. So compiler is a software program that converts the source code from high level language into the low level language. Here in this compiler, there are different types of processes are to be done. First, it will convert the high level language high level language program into the low level language program, and after that it translates that programs who are written in the human readable language into the machine language. So here the processor can understand only machine language. So it does not understand the user readable language. So therefore here this compiler, first it converts from high level language to the low level language, and after that the program which is written in the user friendly format to the machine language, and in that machine language it will generate the object file. So the object file is nothing but it is a binary file that contains a set of machine language instructions and data resulting from language transition process. Here we have defined the compiler as it is used for converting the user readable language into the machine language. Machine language is nothing but, so it consists of all the machine codes which is called as operation codes or op codes. So for each instruction and for each process, so the operating system assigns some opcodes to each instruction. The processor itself assigns opcodes to each process or each instruction. So here this compiler is used for converting this user readable language into the machine codes which are called as opcodes. So here that binary image, the object file which is developed by this compiler consists of all the machine codes. So here these machine language instructions are specific to a particular process. Here it cannot be, the compiler cannot be used for all the processes, the same compiler. Here depends on the processor, the compiler will be different. So even though the process or the conversion process used in the compiler is same for all the compilers, so depends on the instruction formats and depends on the instructions used in the machine language instructions used for a particular processor, the compiler will be different. So here the compiler that runs on a computer platform produces code for the same computer platform is known as native compiler. So if the compiler which is used in the development of program and which is designed for a particular processor, and if the compiler runs on the same platform processor for the target machine also, then it is called as native compiler. If the compiler that runs on one computer platform produces code for another computer platform is known as cross compiler. Here it is used for converting the user language into the machine code. If the user language which is written for one platform and the compiler converts the machine codes for the same platform, then it is called as native compiler. If the codes are written for one platform and it generates the object file, that is it generates the machine codes file that is used for another platform, then it is called as cross compiler. So that runs on one platform and produces code for another platform, which is called as cross compiler. So each processor has its own unique machine language. So it can support standard object file formats such as common object file format or executable and linkable format. So each processor, depends on the processor, each processor will have the support for compiler means. So the processor which is using that compiler will follow the same file format as common object file format or executable and linkable format. And next tool is assembler or interpreter. So compilers do not have the support to convert the assembly language code. So here we have discussed that compiler is used for converting the high level language to low level language and converting the user defined language to the machine language. But here it does not have the possibility for converting the assembly language. So here this assembler is used for converting the source code of assembly language into the machine language. Understood? So the compiler is used for converting the high level language into the low level language, high level language to the machine codes. The assembler is used for converting the assembly language to the machine language. See, it performs one-to-one transition and human readable assembly language to machine language. So it is also converting the human readable language to machine language. But here for compiler, it converts human readable programming language to the machine language. But assembler converts human readable assembly language to the machine language. So the input of the assembler must be assembly language. So assembler that runs on the host machine produces binary instructions appropriate for some other target is known as cross assembler. So here as we have discussed, host machine is there, target machine is there. So if a program which is developed on the host machine is used for one platform, and here we have an assembler. So the assembler that is used for converting that assembly language program used in this platform to another platform which is used in the target machine. So that means if the host machine and target machine are not using the same platform, but we have used the assembler which is used for converting the assembly language developed in the host machine into the machine language which is developed for the platform 2 used in the target machine. Then it is called as cross assembler. So interpreter, it constantly runs and interprets the source code as a set of directives. So as the program is typed, the assembler performs the syntax checking. Interpreter is nothing but it is used for checking any syntax errors or any missing of any libraries or directives in the main program. So the performance is very poor. It can be 1000 times lower than an equivalent compiled language. Here, while compared with compiler, the assembler performance is very poor. So next tool is debugging. So debugging is nothing but, so if the program is checked in the compiler or assembler, so those are saying that those are used for converting the user programs to user level programs to the machine languages. And here the debugger is used for checking any errors in these machine language programs. So if any errors are there, we have to remove those errors and we have to fix those errors, and we have to recheck the program for not getting any errors. So the important technique to find and remove the number of errors or bugs or defects in a program is known as debugging. So by using the debugging method, we have to check the number of errors, either syntax errors or programmable errors or human made errors. So any error, so we can find out any error in our source code by using the debugging. So it is a multi-step process in software development. So it involves identifying the bug, finding the source of the bug, and correcting the problem to make the program error free. So our final aim is to make our program used for the source code as error free. So therefore this debugger we used for first identifying the error, so first identification of error and finding the source of that error and correcting that error. So these are all the functions that are done by the debugger. So in software development, the developer can locate the core error in the program and remove it by using the debugging process. So we can, so before entering into the real-time scenario, before entering into the final machine or the original model of that application, so we need to check thoroughly for any errors in the software side or hardware side. So for software side, error calculation and for error finding and correcting that error, we are going to use for debugging. So linker. So here the next tool is linker. The linker or link editor is a program that takes one or more objects generated by compiler. So linker is nothing but it takes one or more objects generated by compiler and assembles them into a single executable program. Here we know that, so from the compiler we have the object file, so which is known as the program which is converted into the machine code, and any errors are there. If there are no errors, then it can create one binary file. So that is called as object file. So that object file can be given as an input to this linker file, and any library files, so which are used for standard libraries. So just like .h files. So standard library files or .h files. So which are used for linking to that current application. So those R files will be added to the linker and those are given as an input to the linker. So then it combines the object files from the compiler and different functional references files and library files, and it will generate the executable file. So the source code may be contained in more than one file. So it must be combined. So here we know that for any application it may not be possible to write in only one file. So we have different number of files are there. One is main.c. So if we want to add n number of, so if we want to add n numbers, so in the main program, so we have taken two numbers, number 1, number 2, and here we have write one function which is add. So then in execution, after execution of reading these variables, then go to the add function. So here add function is nothing but another function, another file which is add.c. So in that file we are writing the program for summing of n1 and n2, programming for two numbers. So again after addition of these two numbers, again it come back to the main program. Again it takes another two numbers, the next two numbers, increment n1, increment n2. Next it will add these two numbers. So like that this process will be continuously repeated. So that means here we have two files which is main.c and add.c. So while going for execution, in the compilation it generates two objects file. One is for main.c, another one is for add.c. So that in the linker it will add all the object files are created by the main source program. So here the source code may contain more than one file. So it should be needed to combine all the object files of all the files used in that application. So that here, so by linking all the files, so here by linking all the files used in the application, here we can resolve that if any variable which is used in one file can be used in another file also. So it can also add the library functions. So here this linker will add all the object files of the individual files which are used in the application and library files which are used for that individual files. So this linker will link all the files allotted for that particular application. So the output of the linker is new object file that contains all the codes and data from input object files. So here the linker creates a relocatable version of the program. So the entire embedded application including the operating system is statistically linked together and executed as a single binary image. So after linking all these files images, it can generate some executable file, so which will be stored in the memory, so which is called as locator. So it relocates all the individual files into one file which is called as executable file and is saved in the memory. And next, startup code. So startup code is a small block of assembly language code that prepares the way for execution of software written in high level language. So startup code is nothing but a small block of assembly language code which is used for execution of software in high level language. So each high level language has its own set of expectations. So usually the startup code is not inserted automatically. The programmer assembles it and includes the resulting object file among the list of input files to the linker. So startup code is nothing but here whatever the small blocks which are used for execution of the main software or whatever the libraries which are used for that particular application only. So those are all will be linked to the startup code. So most cross compilers, so here when we have you go for cross compilers or cross assemblers. So these two are nothing but these two are developed, so run on the programs developed for one platform and run on the another platform. So therefore here the startup codes are needed for the cross assemblers and cross compilers because the object files or the programs which are written in the high level language are different with the programs written in the assembly language. So to link up all these programs we have to use the startup codes. So startup code which is written on the platform 1 can be used on the startup code in the cross assembler to link the programs written on platform 1 with platform 2. So therefore most cross compilers for embedded systems including the assembly language files like startup.asm for compilation. So here the location and contents of this file are usually described in the documentation. So in the documentation itself, the compiler describes the startup file location. Here the startup code for C programs means it consists of all the interrupt programs, related interrupt programs. First, it will disable all the interrupts. So while entering into our application program, our main program, our intention is only to execute our main program only. So therefore, it will disable all the interrupts, or it initialize all the data from ROM and ROM to avoid any non-overlapping, occurred in the memory. So zero the initialized data area and allocate the space for initializing the stack and initialize the processor stack pointer. The calls the main function. Few instructions after call to main function. So these are all will be executed only in the event that high level language program executes. So here what is the startup code? Startup code is nothing but, so what is the process which is used for entering into our application. So what is the, so before entering into our application program, we need to check whether all interrupts are disabled or not, and the memory. So is there any overlapping of memory, is there or not, and we need to initialize all the memory elements, like initializing the stack element, on initializing the data memory, initializing the program memory, and we need to allocate space for our program and data, and so we need to allocate some memory for interrupts. So disabling all the interrupts, and whatever the interrupts occurred in that main program, so allocating memory to those interrupts. So these are all will be included in the startup code. So in this session we have discussed the summary of previous session and what are the embedded tools available for our embedded systems, like hardware tools and software tools. In this present session we have discussed the software tools used for our embedded systems, like compiler, assembler, cross compiler, cross assembler, next debugger, linker. So what is the startup code used for our embedded systems to link up all these files which are used in one platform with another platform. So these are the topics covered in the present session. Thank you.